Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to the after show for issue 16 of The Powers That Be. Again, this one was Spelunking in the Past, part 2. For those of you that are, again, new here, thank you for tuning in to the after show, which is where we just kind of shoot the shit, do stars and wishes, and then talk about what may be coming up next, which is, I'm sure, a great way for Patrick to farm ideas. And again, I'm going to take a second and just say to everyone, both on the call and anyone who's watching this, I am so very happy to be back doing this again. I had a medical problem that caused me to be non-functional for a while. If you guys have been following this channel for a while, you know all of that, but it's not worth getting into now. And the fact that we had to scrap 2 sessions of this because I was physically just unable to handle it was killing me. So again, thank you to everyone in the game for just hitting the ground running again. Like, we hadn't missed any time at all. It was great. But thanks to anyone who's following along these after shows. We do appreciate it. Okay, this has been your moment of Zen. So now we're going to go and do stars and wishes, and we will start this time with Ray.
Okay. Let's see. Start off with star to Patrick for really good creation. It was simple where it needed to be simple, and it was complex in a way that made things interesting but not overburdened. You put the details where the details belonged, and that was excellent. I was a little surprised that the robo dogs and bots and whatnot were as easy to get by as they were. I'll be honest. I'm not complaining much. And definitely, it's like entering that last room with all the bad guys. Like, I think collectively, well, I can't speak for anybody else, but I was still thinking, is like, okay, more combat. And then there's like record scratch across, needle across the record. Fuck. Okay, gotta think differently here. So,
and combat was certainly an option if you wanted to.
Well,
I was tempted. I was tempted. Let's see. Star for Trevor for character optimization. Holy crap. Damn, that is some mighty fine work you do. I am still envious, and that is how you build a character.
It's nice having a couple of go-to moves.
Mm-hmm. And dude, star to ECAT for the Milky Ways. That was awesome. Thank you. That was great. And let's see. As far as wishes, there was more internet lag than we had experienced previously, and I know that's not anybody's individual fault, so I'm certainly not putting the blame on that, but I was like kind of and I wish I had I feel so I was really bummed that my first attack failed. And it's like, I wish I had a backup, but I know it's like plan B gets enacted the next round. So maybe we have to, as gamers, we have to live with that discomfort for a while, for the rest of that round, and then just wait until it's your turn again to try to redeem yourself, as it were. So, but yes, this was a good session. This is a very good session.
Yeah, Ray, my answer to that, at least with this particular character, is for anybody who saw the Robin Williams live on Broadway thing so many years ago, talking about his cat. Oh fuck, I meant to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That just is just pretty much her attitude when she, because sometimes it does fail you, and when I whiffed earlier, it's like nope, I'm that just nope.
All right.
Good to know. Thank you.
Let's go next to ECAT.
So stars to Patrick, because he's got some crazy, weird thinking going on there. And in fact, my sister, who was watching this for the first time, said she was all into it until she went, oh fuck, when she saw that Patrick was our GM. So good on you, Patrick. Yeah, just I felt like the pacing was better this time. Partly because we were all like, yay, we get to play. And there wasn't as much thinking while it was our turn that people seemed to be doing, thinking ahead of time while we were waiting for our turn, okay, of what I'm going to do. So that was great. Wishes. I don't really have anything at the moment because my wish is that we continue to be able to get together on a more regular basis. So yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. We'll go next to Matt.
Hit me.
Hit you.
Hit me. Okay. Well, I'll say, I'm glad Trevor's back in the driver's seat. It's not just the whole, ooh, we get to play thing, but it's really nice to see you on the mend and happy.
Thank you.
Gotta echo other people's stars to Patrick, because the pacing of the episode was great. The whole threat increase was, because it was the okay, we got the dogs, we got the Ed 201s, and oh shit. So that, well done with that. Also stars to Ray. I don't know if that was the whole gate thing was something you worked out with Patrick behind the scenes, or if it was you saw a role-playing opportunity and just went with it. Either way, that was beautiful. Well done with that. Wishes, yeah, I think, getting to see what happens next is going to be, can't wait.
Yep. All right, over to Julie.
Yeah, the cinematic descriptions that everybody was doing is absolutely fantastic. Really, like, just I was really enjoying that. Patrick, yeah, definitely excellent on the pacing, and yes, because the combat was fairly easy in the grand scheme of things. If it's like, okay, is he lulling us into a false insecurity? What's going on? And then, walking to be faced with the various and sundry bad guys from previous adventures. It's like, crap. This can very much not end well.
Yeah.
So honestly, my wish is that we can make what's his face? The first guy with the cane. Hex, thank you. Words are hard. Yeah, I mean, I would love to deal some damage to Hex, but I'm not quite sure if we're all quite up to the point where we could take on all of them collectively. So it's one of those. I'll just back burner that wish for a little bit. Just
Yeah.
Come on. Just looking forward to beating up on a 12-year-old.
Again.
So for me, absolutely echo the star for ECAT for the callback to the Milky Ways. That was fantastic. That was great. Not only that you thought to do it beforehand, but that you had that callback now in what was just the perfect moment for the Chekhov's gun to fire. So really serious kudos for that. Ray, again, for the conversation scene at the portal. I mean, the way that Patrick, the way that you set up kind of the super origins, I think the alien has a little bit more role-playing playroom because you have another voice in your head. But I mean, even given that, Ray, you have taken this and run with it the whole time and is only getting better. So major kudos to you, my dude. And again, star to everyone for again upping the cinematic descriptions, which I think are always good. Taking down the planning time, which is also good. Less basically dead air. I love the fact that Foundry will give you that heads up when the person before you is starting their turn, so you have that little time to say, okay, what's plan A, what's plan B. So yeah. Wishes. Well, I'm hoping that that Crash can either figure out or probably have to get saved from whatever's going on with that rock. I echo Julie that I have a serious wish to make Hex extremely uncomfortable in long-lasting ways. Keen dislike for that man. But it's this is still, the plot is not only continuing to roll, but it is snowballing. It is building on itself in a way that, I mean, I expect no less from you, Patrick, because you're a fantastic GM. But the everything is coming together great, and every tidbit that we get just makes my mouth water that much more for the next one. And yeah, I'm hoping that we can not ever have to wait 6 weeks to do this again. And for me, that being it for me, I'll pass it over to Patrick.
All right. Well, my stars this week go out to pretty much the whole group. As mentioned, the cinematic content is wonderful. I like how people are thinking around well, what else could I do in this situation other than just, swing a punch or walk down a hall or whatnot. So I'm very much enjoying how things are going, especially with the taking control of the scene, spending an experience point to change how things are going a bit. One of the funny things is I had planned that something absolutely terrible was going to happen to somebody. I didn't know who by the end of tonight's session. And fortunately, Crash made that happen for me, which is great. So you can leave. Some of the other options are quite spectacular because you have tangled up with two of those people before and succeeded.
Yeah.
The other two, if you'd like, I can show you some of their stats. I don't think you would like them a whole lot. So, I'm very much enjoying the how we're sticking with the role playing as to who our characters are, what sorts of things they do. So it didn't surprise me at all that while everybody's standing there kind of talking and having this tense moment, that one of y'all just walks through the portal like, let's go through here. I want to go home.
Yep.
So I very much enjoyed that. And I also like how we do tend to end at a pretty convenient plot point. So, for instance, like right now, the question is, what is happening to Crash, and how is this going to pan out? Because,
I have some theories.
Because the wonderful thing, of course, is that, you know, taking something that is being held by somebody who is wearing metallic armor and you know, robotic actuators and stuff like that in your hand is another matter. It's like, ooh, well, this is exactly the sort of thing I wanted to happen. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in that moment, what was going through Crash's mind was, if she wants that thing, I want her not to have that thing. And that was basically like the extent of the thought and planning that went into it.
Yep.
With Jack
which
screaming,
makes sense.
"Stop her! Stop her! Stop her!"
Yeah.
Yeah. Taking the glowing toys away from yes, the murderous, robot,
Psycho
little girl
child.
robotics
Yeah.
genius is just yes. I think that's just pretty much
And Patrick, however many GM intrusions you want to throw at me for this, bring them on. I love it.
Hell,
Go ahead, Matt.
no, I just, I think, it was the Justice League animated thing where they get hit with baby scarecrows, like fear toxin thing, and Barry Allen has that hallucination that he's gone so fast everybody is frozen in time.
Yeah.
And the Rock, we know, gives people powers. So like, okay, so is it accelerating Crash's speed force basically? Like, is that what's going on, or something else horrible? And what is the only part of Erebus is here? So yeah.
I will say, going back to the Flash reference, the next thing that I had planned for Crash was he was going to try to do a power stunt to do the windmill arms, to just kind of blow
Nice.
Erebus away from the portal, since he seemed to be lacking most of a physical form. Matt, before we started the after show, you had posed a question, and I suggested that we put a pin in it until we got to the after show, and now I can't remember what it was.
I brought it up. It was the Erebus thing.
Thank you.
So
yeah,
and
now
that
we
is
can theory craft.
something, and that is something that Gene understands, whereas the rest of you kind of have a big question mark on it.
Yep.
Is the difference between I and we in your character.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right. Anyone have anything else they want to bring up? Any other theories we want to explore, or just happy to be back?
Right? Happy to be back, but it was so, and like going back to that transition, because I had decided that given the way that things are going and building is and I'm being purposefully a little vague here, but that's why Gene just once Patrick said, it's like you feel this connection with whatever's on the other side of Stargate, and it's like, well, clearly he's just going to go. Gene 8 episodes ago would not have. Gene right now did. And then poof comes back with ugly motherfucker. And I mean, so how we can't so then it becomes do we act or do we investigate? And part of me is like, still act. And what if I take him down? It's like, no, that's going to be bad. I'm going to think it's one thing, and it is not going to be another. It is going to be 5 other things, and I'm not going to like any of them.
Yep.
But just how to make that transition. Clearly, Patrick, you were waiting for that, and your little inner demon was bouncing up and down, going, ha ha ha, goody goody goody, making all of us go, what? So like, I think maybe it might just be experience based, and me being the least experienced out of any of you in things like this, but just, how to flip on that dime of, okay, I'm ready for whatever combat, speed, defense, whatever. Now we've got to use wit, cunning, imagination, and dialogue based advancement, or asking questions and whatnot in order to move things along.
I have to say that preparing for this several months ago now, I was expecting a roughly 50% chance that Crash would have swung at Erebus immediately upon seeing him. Like he's going to be like, oh, okay, there's a guy there, and then just go right after him. Especially now with the invisibility, and so which had its own species of horror of what was going to go on, because consider who else is in the room at the time.
Yeah.
But as things worked out, I very much enjoyed that. And that's the fun thing with doing planning for these things, is I have to try to get an idea of the realms of possibility of what could happen, because you're not going to do as I expect. Like I had expected to try to break the portal. Oh, excellent. Okay, that's a good turn on things, because I just kind of have to think along what's actually happening, what's the plan of everybody else in the room, and then just work with that.
And the funny thing is, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I did notice that several times along the way tonight, our dear GM said, you could just turn around and go home.
Also an
I
option.
noticed that several times.
Yep.
Well, we're not murder hobos, but what?
No, we have a house.
What gaming group ever turns around and goes home? There wouldn't be any plot or story.
Well, sometimes a gazebo is just a gazebo, okay?
Well, we don't need to attack the gazebo.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually, I had a couple players in a game that I ran many years ago who, one didn't want to leave what they were doing, and another one just kept diverting. It was like, and no amount of, no, dude, that's not going to happen. Really, you can't do that. With just like, could you get with the program, please?
Yeah.
So I watched a video a while ago that talks about some of the common higher level DMs in, like, Matt Mercer in Critical Role, Brendan Lee Mulligan and Abrea Iyengar in Dimension 20, and like the little tricks that they do to make to make things a better, a more immersive and a better experience. And one of the things, and I think they said this was the one from Brennan, was when the character says, I want to do this, and the response is almost always, you can certainly try.
I think that's Mercer's tagline,
okay.
actually.
Yeah.
But
and when it so in the book, it's actually, hilariously enough, in two different places in the main Cypher book. It's on 208 and 404, because no, of course I didn't look those up right before this. You have the task difficulty table, which specs out, a difficulty 0 task is routine, a difficulty 1 is easy, standard, challenging, difficult, whatever, as you go up through the levels. So I think that gives the GM a lot of flexibility to say, okay, you want to do this completely off the wall thing, you can try. I think it's about that difficult. Sure, difficulty 8 roll. And that doesn't have to have anything to do with, the thing that we're fighting, or, anything like that. And it also doesn't have to do with how advanced the characters are. It's just, you want to do this crazy off the wall thing? Okay, you can try. You will probably fail, and we'll really hope you fail forward. But
the fun thing with that is, when somebody does something crazy and they succeed, you just have to rethink things. Like, what happens if Jackdaw pulls out his gun and tries to shoot the sun and he succeeds?
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe it shatters and like all of a sudden you're living in a simulation. Like, what happened? Because I'd have to think really fast on my feet, but it could cap. Sure, why not? It's it's a comic book world.
Yeah.
It's not the real world.
And that's honestly that's kind of why I went for the idea of knocking the antenna over, because I figured I wasn't the power generators were too far away, but I wanted something that I could get to actually damage the portal, because I wasn't, from the descriptions you were giving, I wasn't seeing any good way to just shut it down. So okay, next best thing, send something crashing into it. And I don't know if you had that planned as a possibility, but it came across like you did. Just because your reaction was...
The interesting kind of backstory thing, seeing as it's now already happened, is Matrix was trying to dismantle the device to get at its power source. The power source for the portal is not the rest of the room. The rest of the room's power supports it. So you managed to break how it was operating, and then it was running solely on its power source. She's like, there it is. She's able to detect it and pull it out. So you actually ended up helping them.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. I mean, you got an orange rock out of the deal.
Yeah.
That might be the only thing you ever get if you're caught there, for instance, like, this temporal stasis for the rest of eternity. But we'll see what happens next time.
Right. Yeah. If nothing else, I'll go, wandering around like like Evan Peters' Quicksilver, just go, bullet there. You go right there. And he could be off in his own little fantasy world for the rest of time, for all he knows. Doesn't matter. All right. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. So again, this is great. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the players. Welcome back to the viewers. Hope to see you guys again in 2 weeks. In the meantime, for Patrick, ECAT, Matt, Julie, and Ray, I am the Vitruvian people. Have a good night, everyone.
I